great to see you again, and I'm happy that you're still curious to hear more about how consultants work and what you can take away from this into your normal job. Today I'll take you through the working method of a consultant from A to Z. How do we approach projects and complete them? At Qvartz we call it the problem-solving wheel, and it has 6 steps. I'll take you through each of them one at a time over the next 5 minutes. So if you're up for it, listen up carefully. Step 1 is the problem definition. So essentially the core challenge, the key question that we are investigating. That needs to be defined quite clearly so we know what we're looking at here. It's not enough just to say we're looking at a company that's not profitable and what to do about it, as we talked about in the last video. That's the example I will use again. So we want to make that even more concrete and actionable and precise. So that an example of a problem definition in that case could be, how do we achieve 5% annual growth towards 2020 and at the same time being EBIT profitable? Could be one example of a key question that gives some structure and some clarity on what we want to achieve with this project. Then we move into step 2. That's the issue identification part. That is applying some more structure and logic to that key question. So taking that question, breaking it down into its subcomponents, the elements that it contains. We want sub-questions that will help us answer the overall question. Examples again here could be, for that question we were talking about, it could be, for example, how do we become a successful provider to segment X? Could be something that gave us growth. How do we reduce costs in warehousing and logistics if we think that's where the costs are high? We might have a hypothesis on that already. Thirdly, could be, how do we organize for future growth? We need to think that these 3 questions can help us answer the overall questions. And then we might even do another layer of questions below that. Put it all on a page, and that's our contract for the project. When we have that in place, the next thing we want to do is start formulating hypotheses. So answers to those questions. This is a step that I discuss a lot with people because for some reason there is resistance around doing that at such an early stage. We don't know anything. What if we don't want to just stick to some hypothesis and we want to be open to different solutions and so on. But you need to do it, and you're gonna love it if you get it right. Why? Because it makes it so much more concrete what you're looking at and what you're aiming at. You have something you can align with stakeholders along the way. If you meet the CEO in the hallway, he doesn't want to know that you're buried in an Excel sheet full of data and nothing aligns and you can't figure out what's going on. He wants to know, what do you think is the right thing for us to do right now based on what you've heard or seen so far. That's a hypothesis that he's looking for. So formulate them early on, and as any other scientific work, of course you will be trying to prove them right or discard them if they show up to not be right. So nobody's saying we should stick to them no matter what. When we have that in place, we're ready to move into the analysis phase. First of all, of course, defining the analysis we want to do, and then of course doing them. We don't want to do any analysis that's not linked to one of the issues in our issue tree. That's a very typical thing when I'm walking around in my team with a group of consultants. I always need to make sure that they are not just diving into data. We all get curious, but which issue is it that you are answering right now with this analysis that you're doing? That's important. When we've been through the problem definition, issue identification, formulating hypothesis, and doing the data analysis, the first 4 steps of the model, we are ready to move into step 5, the solution development. This will change as the project progresses. The solution that we are presenting along the way will initially be more about understanding why is there a problem, and towards the end of the project more towards what to do about the problem. So that's how the solution will develop. And finally, step 6, communication. You need to communicate this to people around you. And there are 2 really key things in the communication part that we spend a lot of time training. The storyline, basically a written down storyline of your findings and your recommendations, and then converting that into a storyboard on a whiteboard or a piece of paper where you simply draw up the slides in a flow that you want in your presentation. And then you open PowerPoint. So don't open PowerPoint and stare into a blank white page. Make sure you've already thought through what you want to put in there before you open and start working. So this is basically step 1 to 6 in the consulting working method. I won't take any more of your time today, but in the next video I want to share with you a bit more on how to apply that during a project. So when to do what, basically, of these steps in the model, so it gets even more tangible. Thanks for your time today.